Vin Diesel hid something from everyone with his sunglasses and fast cars. Meadow Walker kept quiet for a long time. The girl in the background was Paul Walker's daughter. Up until now. She finally told the truth about Vin Diesel when she was calm and honest. Everyone was shocked by what she said. Was it love? Could Vin and Meadow really be together as well as they seem to be? Do we not know some things? Did something really happen in the years after Paul died that changed how things worked behind the scenes? There's more to this than meets the eye, and the truths are scarier than you think. Let's watch this video right away. They were more than just co-stars. The friendship that Paul Walker and Vin Diesel share. You likely think of the Fast and Furious movies when you hear the names Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. But there's a lot more to these two guys' story than just cars and action movies. The way they were on camera made them seem like real brothers. Paul and Vin met while making the first Fast and Furious movie in 2000. They became best friends very quickly. Both of them liked working hard, cars, and being active. But how much they cared about family was what really brought them together. They were loyal and didn't let anyone into their private lives. To show how close they were, Vin called Paul Pablo. Vin said that Paul helped him become a better person, especially when it came to becoming a dad. Vin wasn't sure if he was ready before he had his daughter. But seeing how much Paul loved and took care of his daughter Meadow gave him hope. Paul didn't brag about being a dad, but he did make time for Meadow a lot. He even changed his work plans to make time for her. Paul was the first person Vin told when he found out he was going to have a baby. Vin even named his youngest daughter Pauline after him to honor him. He said that as he cut the cord, he thought of Paul. That's how much he loved him. So it was very sad for Vin when Paul died in a car accident in 2013. He said it was like losing a part of himself. Vin didn't just cry by himself, though. He helped Paul's family, especially Meadow, who was only 15 years old at the time. Over the years, Vin has been there for Meadow and thinks of her as his daughter. Paul and Vin went from being co-stars to best friends to family over time. When Paul died, Vin didn't try to take his place. He chose to honor Paul by being Meadow's father figure and teacher. Each year, Vin writes a post about Paul to honor his life. That's what made Fast and Furious more than just car movies. It was about true love, respect, and loyalty. Friendship between them goes on through memories and promises even after Paul's death. A lot of people liked Paul Walker, but not many knew the real person behind the fame. Who was Paul Walker before he drove fast cars and walked the red carpet? And what did he leave behind? Follow along as we look into this video more. Before he became famous, this is Paul Walker's early life. Before the fame, fast cars, and everyone calling him Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker was just a California boy with blonde hair that was all messed up. His birthday is September 12, 1973, and he was born in Glendale, California. His family wasn't famous in Hollywood. His dad, Paul Walker III, worked as a sewer worker and had rough hands and a strong will. He really was a Golden Gloves wrestler at one point. Cheryl, his mother, was a pretty fashion model with a big smile and strong beliefs. Paul was the oldest of 5 children raised in a strict Mormon Christian family. He learned how to fix things, pray before dinner, and watch out for his siblings like a good big brother should. He had 3 brothers and a sister. Some people don't know this, but Paul didn't even want to be a movie star. He started acting when he was only 2 years old, but not because he wanted to. His mom did it because she thought he'd look good in diaper ads. He did it. He was good at it. He went from ads for Pampers to small parts on TV shows like Charles in Charge, Highway to Heaven, and Touched by an Angel. But being famous didn't change him. He stayed real even after he started acting in movies like Varsity Blues and Pleasantville in the 1990s. More often than not, Paul is working on his car in his basement or surfing in Malibu. He's not at a Hollywood party. What's really strange is this. It was Paul's real wish to study sea life. He looked at Jackie Cousteau. Yes, you did hear that right. The well-known ocean adventurer. While at community college, Paul studied marine biology. He loved the ocean all his life and never lost that love. In fact, he went on a real-life shark expedition with National Geographic in 2006 for Expedition Great White. Off the coast of Mexico, he helped tag great white sharks. They don't say that very often, but Paul did. He was at ease swimming with sharks in a wetsuit and driving fast cars on TV. In the end, The Fast and the Furious, which came out in 2001, was his big break. But Paul didn't act like a star even after he became popular. He stayed calm, friendly, and interested in cars more than cameras. He loved driving a lot, and not just in movies. Among his more than 30 owned cars was a rare Nissan Skyline GT-R R34, which was the same car that his movie character Brian drove. Besides making movies, he ran a business. He owned a car shop with another person called Always Evolving. It wasn't just a place to fix cars. They made race cars that were fast and strong, and some of them even raced professionally. Paul took part in everything. He worked on engines, helped make cars, and even drove them in races. He wasn't just into cars. He really did have oil on his hands and a heart that loved speed. Paul loved helping people more than he loved cars. He started a charity called Reach Out Worldwide after going to Haiti to help with the recovery from the 2010 earthquake. People with skills like doctors, nurses, and rescue workers are sent by this group to places that have been hit by disasters like storms, earthquakes, and floods. Paul thought there was more to life than just writing checks. He went and participated, and he urged others to do the same. His organization is still going strong and helping people all over the world, even though he has died. Paul was most proud of his daughter Meadow Walker, though. She was born in 1998 and lived with her mom in Hawaii until she was 13. After that, she moved in with Paul in California. It wasn't just a new location, everything changed. Paul said that making me food every day made him feel like a real man. He didn't want to be a dad some days a week. It was his dream to be her hero. Not just on TV, but also at home. He was also going to take a long break from acting right before he died so he could spend more time with her. Paul never cared about being well known. The beach, his daughter, and cars were the most important things to him. Vin Diesel always cared about that. But now things start to get interesting. Meadow, Paul's daughter, began telling him more about her life after Paul had died. To show how much he meant to her, she posts memories, photos, and other small things. Vin is someone who has always been there for her. He took over like a second dad. He kept his word and was close to her. However, some people asked, did Vin do enough? Or did he go too far? Next, we'll talk about the real Vin Diesel, so stay with us. The man behind it all, not the movie star. This is how Meadow may have felt inside, even if she didn't say it out loud. How street kings are made, from Mark Sinclair to Vin Diesel. He used to be a kid named Mark Sinclair before he became Vin Diesel, the king of the streets in Fast and Furious. He was born in Alama County, California, on July 18, 1967. He didn't stay long, though. When he and his mom broke up, his mom moved him and his twin brother Paul to New York. Their mom, Delora, and her new husband, Irving Vincent, raised them. Irving wasn't Mark's real dad, but he loved him like he was his own because he taught theater. That's where my dream of becoming an actress began. No matter what, Vin never met his real father. It weighs on you, even though he doesn't talk about it much. It changed how he thought about family, love, and loyalty. He's stuck to the idea that family doesn't have to be related by blood ever since. Vin got his first acting job out of the blue. He and some friends broke into a theater when he was only 7 years old with plans to damage it. Not calling the police, though. The theater boss gave them lines and told them to act in a play. Everything changed in that one moment. As a teen, Vin worked as a bouncer at nightclubs to make money. That's when the name Vin Diesel came into being. Vince was his stepfather's last name, which is where Vin came from. His friends called him Diesel because they said he was always full of energy, like a diesel engine that never stopped. But Hollywood didn't really warm up to him at first. They had a hard time putting him in the right role because he was a mix of races. So Vin chose to make his own spotlight. He made a short movie called Multiracial about an actor who was having trouble getting roles because of the way he looked. Steven Spielberg saw that short film. Vin was cast right away in Saving Private Ryan. That said, his big break came in 2001, when he played Dominic Toretto in The Fast and the Furious. He became famous for more than just that part. People heard about him because of it. He was all about speed, power, and family on screen. He was just a man trying to keep the people he loved safe when he wasn't on screen. Vin keeps to himself a lot. But most people don't know this. He's been with the same girl for more than 15 years. Paloma Jimenez is a beautiful Mexican model. There are 3 children between them. Their names are Hania, Vincent, and Pauline. Vin stays out of the way of the attention. Like his friend Paul Walker did with his daughter Meadow before he died. Vin became Meadow's father figure after Paul died in 2013. Vin Diesel did more than just become famous, he made himself famous. He turned loss into love and pain into power on the streets of New York and Fast and Furious. One thing stayed the same through it all. He never ignored his family. What Vin Diesel did for Meadow Walker. Something very sad took place on November 30, 2013. Paul Walker and his friend were in a car that crashed and caught fire. They both didn't make it. Paul was only 40 years old. Everyone was shocked by the news. But his 15-year-old daughter Meadow was the one person it hurt the most. That day, she lost more than just her dad. She lost the person who meant the most to her, her best friend, and the person who never let her down. Becky Soteros and Paul have one child together named Meadow. Meadow spent most of her early years living with her mom in Hawaii. It was quiet there, away from the cameras and lights. Meadow did something big when she turned 13. In order to be close to her dad, she moved in with him in California. Both of them had a new start. Paul loved being a dad, and now he could finally be there for all the little things, like drop-offs at school, birthday parties, and dinner talks. He even thought about taking it easy on stage so he could spend more time with her. Meadow was more than just Paul's daughter to him. She was everything to him. Then all of a sudden, that person's life changed. Vin Diesel stepped in quietly after Paul died. It wasn't a big deal for him. He was just there to check on Meadow, spend time with her, and let her know that love was still around her. He told her she could hang out with his kids. She felt like she was part of the family. Vin said that he thought Paul hired him to watch over Meadow, and seeing her with his kids is the best thing that has ever happened to him. He didn't try to take Paul's place. Just want Meadow to know she could count on him. People became more aware of how close they were as time went on. Meadow and Vin would go to events with red carpets and hang out with his kids. Vin called her his niece. But everyone could see that they were close, like a real family. Something wonderful took place in 2021. Meadow and Luisis Thornton Allen got married in the Dominican Republic on a beach. Vin was the one who led her down the aisle. He was dressed in a light blue suit, and she smiled as she held his arm. So many people felt something at that moment. Vin wasn't filling in for Paul. He was there for him out of love and respect. Vin has helped Meadow in many ways since then. He supports her job as a model and posts about her projects online. He also gives money to the Paul Walker Foundation, which does good things for kids and the ocean that Paul really cared about. Vin once said that being there for Meadow the right way took time to learn. There is no one right thing to do when you're grieving. But Vin stayed close for years, always in a quiet way. To respect Paul, he had to take care of Meadow even when no one was around. How did Meadow really feel about Vin becoming her father figure? In other words, did she want it or had to accept it? Did it ease her pain or make her feel something she hadn't talked about before? How did all of this bring her back to the world her dad left? Meadow Walker caused a stir when she joined Fast and Furious. Meadow started the Paul Walker Foundation on what would have been Paul's 42nd birthday, after her father died. It was a cause close to her heart. It's mostly about animals, the ocean, and helping kids. Many Paul fans didn't always see this side of him. Meadow kept her dad's memory alive without making a fuss through the foundation. But something changed in 2023. The movie Fast X came out, and Meadow was caught on camera for a short but powerful moment. She was a flight attendant in the movie. Even though her scene was short, a lot of people saw it and were happy about it. It didn't matter to them how long she was on screen. It was about what that moment meant. Meadow crossed over into the world that her dad used to rule in a quiet way. On the web, she didn't say much about it. It wasn't a big deal for her. She's always been that way. Private, quiet, and polite. At that point, it was clear that Meadow wasn't there to get famous. She was with family. But her short time on screen made the news, and gossip blogs were full of rumors. This made a lot of people wonder and ask questions. Do you think Meadow really wants that role, or did someone else plan it? What does she really think about Vin? Is she finally ready to tell the truth? The problems that tried to separate Meadow and Vin. Fans thought they had seen everything until Fast X came out in 2023. The crazy action scenes range from crazy car chases and character returns to surprise you. But no one saw coming the huge trouble that Meadow Walker's small part in the movie caused. Meadow was only on screen for a short time as a flight attendant. It was a small thing that caused a big fuss online. Many of her fans were glad to see her at first. It was a nice way to remember Paul and carry on his work. Vin Diesel even shared the video with Pride, and in an interview, he talked about how proud he would have been. It wasn't over yet. Tyrese Gibson and Jordana Brewster were among the other stars who showed their support. Things quickly changed from what it seemed like a happy, full-circle moment. Some people began to ask tough questions. Was Meadow's cameo a real way to honor Paul? Is it just a smart way to market to fans and get them to buy more tickets? Some people thought Meadow didn't deserve the part on her own. Instead, they called it Hollywood favoritism since she comes from a famous family. There were a lot of disagreements on social media. There was talk on YouTube, Reddit, and fan pages about whether Meadow was there to honor her dad or just to help the company. Things got worse in the story after that. There were rumors that Meadow was seeing Vin Diesel frequently. Since Paul died, Vin had been like family to Meadow and helped her through the hard times. Unfortunately, rumors started to spread online, which led to wrong and misleading beliefs. One widely circulated rumor suggested that Vin Diesel had formally adopted Meadow after Paul's passing, though there's no official confirmation. A lot of people on social media said that Vin had become a legal guardian. Misleading news stories made things worse, and soon a lot of fans didn't know what was real and what wasn't. Others said he used Meadow's picture to get fans to feel sorry for him or make himself look like a hero. They weren't sure if how close they were was real or if it was all for the cameras. These ideas caused a lot of trouble on the internet, but Meadow didn't say anything. The reports were true, and she didn't fight back online. She instead worked hard at being a model, doing good things with the Paul Walker Foundation, and keeping her father's memory living in a quiet way. The truth is not as simple as that. Meadow has always chosen to keep her life quiet. She tries to stay away from all the trouble and rumors. So, is Meadow stuck in the power struggles in Hollywood, or is she quietly making her own way and building a life away from all the chaos? What does she really think about Vin Diesel? The appearance and the history she's leaving behind. What fans didn't know about Vin Diesel, her dad, and her life. She didn't talk much about her life in public for a long time after her father died. Pics and posts with Vin Diesel were seen, but no one knew the whole story. Meadow finally let it all out in a recent interview and through beautiful Instagram posts. What she shared said everything. She posted pictures of herself with Vin's kids on Instagram with the message, "Family forever." Not just because they worked together or were in Hollywood, but because he had been there for her through all the important times in her life. Meadow didn't have a big royal wedding when she got married in 2021. It was only a few people and took place in the Dominican Republic. When it was time to walk down the aisle, she wasn't given away by a friend or family member. It was Vin Diesel. He was there for her like a second father. Not to get recognition, but because he cared. Hannah, Vin's oldest daughter, was also her main bridesmaid. This really shows how close they are. Vin has also done quiet things to show Meadow how much he loves her. He shared a simple message to Meadow on his birthday telling her how proud he was of her. It wasn't a press tour or ad for a movie. Someone who had been there for her when she needed help the most gave her love. Many Meadow fans thought that her small part in Fast X was something the studio asked her to do. But she made it clear that she thought of it. She wished to be a part of her dad's life. Her scene was short, but it meant a lot to her. Her way of remembering Paul's memory and the movies that were so important to him was through this. Her family agreed with her choice completely. Cody Walker, Paul's brother, even said nice things about Vin Diesel for helping Meadow after her dad died. It was that quiet support that helped her get through it. It's not true that they are adopting. Meadow still goes by her dad's last name, Walker, and there's no proof that she was adopted. Also, Vin Diesel wouldn't do that just for show, does he? Their love has always been what held them together, not legal titles. Vin really loves her, and their relationship is strong and real. Vin and Meadow never took too long to respond to the crazy stories. They didn't go online to put all the rumors to rest. They kept their attention on what was important, like living with a purpose and showing love through deeds instead of words. There was no need for them to explain their bond. Like a family who just shows up for each other, it was based on trust and quiet care. It's not easy to grow up as the daughter of a famous star. It's been hard on Meadow to be in that light. But she's stayed grounded through it all. She picks what to hide and what to share. Her main goal in everything she does is to honor her dad. Vin, on the other hand, has always been careful with how they are together. He doesn't post about Paul or Meadow just to make a news story. He does it because he loves them and wants everyone to remember that. What was the big secret that everyone had been talking about for years? There wasn't one. The truth was shown by what Meadow said. It had been only love and safety for her from Vin Diesel. There was no trouble. They were just two people who lost someone close to them and became very close family. Making us remember that family isn't just blood. It's important to know who will always love you and stay by your side. The reports were never true, and now we know the truth. A light that still shines because of Paul Walker. Even though it's been a long time, Paul Walker is still felt in real life and in the Fast and Furious movies. The world he helped build hasn't stopped, even though he's not here with us anymore. After he died, the franchise made a strong choice. They didn't give up on his character, Brian O'Connor, like everyone thought they would. They let him live on in the story instead. Brian is still out there in the fast world, taking care of his kids, having family dinners, and driving off into the sunset. During a quiet part of Fast X, his empty seat at the table is shown. A blue Nissan Skyline pulls into the yard in the last scene. The same type of car Paul liked on and off screen. They were telling him, Brian's still here. Paul is still here, but not in sight. His work is just as strong. Paul began the charity Reach Out worldwide in 2010 and it is still doing great things. Now, his brother Cody helps run it. As of 2024, they had helped with more than 70 big disasters, such as earthquakes, hurricanes, and wildfires. When other groups can't move fast enough, they send in doctors, rescue teams, and builders. Paul never meant for this to get attention. All he wanted to do was help. The group is still led by that quiet spirit. But his love for cars lives on through Cody's international car event, Fuel Fest. Fans and racers from all over the world come to remember Paul and raise money for a cause he cared about. In Hollywood, people still miss him a lot and respect him very much. Vin almost never posts a tribute after a year has passed. He named his daughter after him too. Vin used to say that Paul was his other half, and it's clear that the loss still hurts him a lot. Paul was the family's heart. Not everyone liked the franchise, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson once said that Paul was one of the most honest people he'd ever met. The fans also haven't given up. People hold Paul Walker funeral rides all over the world, where they drive their stoked-up cars through city streets to honor him. Walls are covered with pictures of Paul in Japan, Brazil, and even South Africa. He still has fan pages where people post quotes and scenes from his old movies. These aren't just little things. There are signs that Paul really made a difference that will last for a long time. He played more than one hero. He lived like one. Paul left behind more than just fast cars, movies, and speed. It has to do with love, kindness, and action. It's easy to explain what Paul Walker left behind when people ask. There are people who still miss him and things that move because of him. Meadow made a cameo in Fast X, which made fans wonder if that was just the start. They want to know if she will return to the series. Is she getting ready for something bigger? It's still too early to say for sure. And her relationship with Vin seems to be exactly what it seems to be, a bond based on protection, respect, and grief over the man they both loved very much. One thing is clear now that Meadow is slowly becoming more open and finding her own voice. She's not here to be a part of someone else's story. She's here to write her own. The big questions still need to be answered, though, since Meadow has become more famous and the Fast family is still very proud of Paul. What will the future of the brand be like because of Paul Walker? Can Meadow pick up the cause and start a new part of the story? How do we keep family, kindness, and bravery alive in a world that is always changing? Write what you think in the box below, and don't forget to like, follow, and share. If you liked this video, click the next video button on your